Are you a Gemini? Or maybe you're just curious about the deeper meanings behind this air sign ruled by Mercury, the planet of communication, intellect, and curiosity. Hold on to your third house because we're about to uncover the tarot cards of Gemini, and they just might blow your mind. Quick witted, restless, brilliant, curious. Gemini is the sign of the twins, and it's an air sign ruled by the planet Mercury, the cosmic messenger of the gods. Mercury governs communication, intellect, learning, and speed, and no sign channels its energy quite like Gemini. These minds are always moving, talking, thinking, asking, connecting. Gemini thrives on ideas, thrives in duality, and can shift perspectives like flipping a coin. And when it comes to tarot, Gemini has a powerful spread of cards that reflect both the light and shadow of that brilliant mind. Let's start with the showstopper, the Magician. Card 1 of the major arcana. This is the ultimate Gemini energy. Mercurial, clever, and resourceful. A master of space, time, and cosmic energy. He's got one hand to the heavens and the other pointing down, channeling divine inspiration into action. The magician says, as above, so below. Sound familiar, Gemini? You are the messenger of the zodiac, after all. But he's not just dreaming, he's doing. And before him, a table with four sacred tools, each one a gateway to manifestation. The Ace of Cups, element of water, emotion, intuition, inner truth. The magician lifts the chalice to receive divine feeling. This is the heart behind the magic, the dream behind the desire. The Ace of Wands, element of fire, willpower, passion, drive, divine inspiration. He points the wand forward, fueling action, igniting ideas, and commanding momentum. When Gemini wants something, the wand says, let's go. The Ace of Swords, element of air, thought, clarity, communication, victory. This is where Gemini shines. The magician wields the sword like a true intellectual, cutting through confusion and speaking reality into being. The Ace of Pentacles, element of earth, stability, health, materiality. The magician doesn't just think and talk, he builds. The pentacle is proof that magic becomes tangible when grounded in purpose. When the magician unites these four elements, emotion, intellect, will, and physicality, he becomes a master of reality. He doesn't hope, he creates. He doesn't wait, he acts. He doesn't doubt, he knows. And so does Gemini. The story doesn't end there. There's more magic in your tarot mirror. Next, we have the Lovers, Gemini's core archetype. Just like Gemini's twin symbol, the Lovers represent the constant dance between the mind and the heart, shadow and light, reason and feeling. This card reminds you that your relationships, especially with yourself, shape your path. First glance, though, the Lover's card looks like a celebration of romance, and yes, love is a key part of it. But this card goes far, far deeper than attraction. This is a card about connection, duality, and most importantly, choice. Just like Gemini, the sign of the twins, the Lovers represents two parts of one whole, two minds, two paths, two versions of truth. It's the sacred mirror, the moment we confront not just another person, but ourselves. It speaks to inner duality, head versus heart, logic versus emotion, shadow versus light, what we want versus what we need. Gemini is often misunderstood as being two faced, but it's not about deception, it's about perception. Gemini sees both sides, feels multiple truths, and holds space for contradictions. That's not weakness, folks, it's power. The Lover's card challenges us to ask, what am I choosing? Which version of myself am I becoming? And is this path in alignment with my values? Gemini, you are the element of choice here. In tarot, choice is sacred. It shapes our fate. The Lover's card is the crossroads, the moment where fate meets free will. And Gemini, ruled by Mercury, lives for this moment. Communication, logic, dialogue, these are Gemini's tools in making conscious, informed decisions. But here's the twist. The right choice isn't always the easy one. The Lovers reminds us that true alignment sometimes requires sacrifice. It demands authenticity, vulnerability, and trust. Will you choose the path that's familiar or the one that sets your soul on fire? Will you stay divided within yourself or unite the twins and walk as one? This card is not just about love, it's about becoming whole. Just like Gemini, the Lover's card is neither either or. It's both and. It's the power to choose with clarity, with love, and with truth. But Gemini's story doesn't end there. Let's talk about that swords collection. And boy, do you have one. Feeling stuck? Gemini's mental gears can spin into overdrive. And that's when we get to the Eight of Swords, the mental trap. There she stands, blindfolded, bound, and surrounded by swords. The sky above her is bleak, the ground beneath her is wet, and she looks like a prisoner. But look closer. The ropes are loose. The swords form no real barrier, and behind her is a path, unseen but waiting. This is the Eight of Swords, a card of mental entrapment, fear, overthinking, paralysis, the belief that you are stuck, helpless, and trapped by circumstances beyond your control. But here's the truth. This isn't a prison made of steel, it's one made of thoughts. This is the mind turning on itself. Doubt becomes a wall, anxiety becomes a cage, and every what if becomes a sword. This card speaks especially loud to Gemini, whose mind is constantly in motion, analytical, curious, and quick. But when that quick mind spirals into fear, it becomes a maze. Now, here's the good thing with the Eight of Swords. It also tells us what we can do. Your first step, remove the blindfold. Start with awareness. You may not be able to fix everything overnight, but you can ask, what thoughts are holding me hostage? Are these fears based on fact or on assumption? Gemini's gift is clarity. Use it. See yourself. Speak the truth, even if only to yourself. Reclaim your voice. The Eight of Swords silences you. You may feel like no one will understand, or worse, that no one will care. But the fastest way out of this trap is to talk it out. Journal, confide, reflect. Gemini is ruled by Mercury. You heal through your words. Then take one step. You don't need to fix everything at once. Just wiggle free, loosen the rope, take off the blindfold, trust your intuition, and then take one small, brave step in the direction of freedom. The path is already there. You just haven't seen it yet. The Eight of Swords is not your enemy. It's your awakening. It shows you how powerful your mind truly is. Because if your thoughts can trap you, they can also set you free. Let go of the illusion, reclaim your clarity, and step out of the fog and back into your power. The Eight of Swords reminds you that the trap is often mental, not physical. It whispers, you're not as helpless as you think. You just need perspective. The room is dark. A figure sits upright in bed, face in hands. 9 swords hang above them, like thoughts too heavy to hold. It is night, and they are alone. The demons here, they're not in the world. They're in the mind. This is the 9 of Swords, the card of sleepless nights, racing thoughts, anxiety, shame, and inner torment. Sound familiar, air sign? This card is the darker side of Gemini's lightning fast intellect, but it's also a call to break free from self inflicted fear. No one understands the power of thought like Gemini. Curious, fast, analytical, Gemini lives in the mental realm. But when that brilliant mind turns on itself, when you replay every mistake, regret every word, and fear every future, that's when the Nine of Swords arrives. It's that moment when your brain becomes an echo chamber of fear. No one else may see your suffering, but you feel it. It's personal, it's loud, and it doesn't go away when the lights go out. But there is hope. The card tells us how we can overcome this as well. Name the fear. Anxiety feeds on vagueness. The more amorphous the fear, the more power it has. Gemini, use your greatest tool, language. Write it down, speak it, define it. Ask, what exactly am I afraid of? Once fear is named, it loses its edge. Separate fact from feeling. Not everything you think is true. Not every word deserves your energy. Is this a real problem or an old pattern replaying itself? Gemini has the gift of analysis. Use it not to spiral, but to sort. Sort thoughts into two piles, real concern and mental distortion. Then let go of what isn't yours to carry. Practice compassion and not perfection. Often the Nine of Swords shows up when you're beating yourself up for what you said, didn't say, did, didn't do. But here's the secret. The mind can only rest where the heart is safe. Speak to yourself like someone you love, because shame never heals anything, but self-kindness, that's the beginning of peace. Get it out of your head. Gemini heals through expression, journaling, talking, even thinking out loud. If your thoughts feel like a tornado, don't keep them locked inside. Release them. Give your inner storm a voice, and then let it pass. It's a light in the darkness. The Nine of Swords is not a curse. It's a call to turn inward, face the pain, and rewrite the story. You are not what happened. You are not your worst thought, and you are not alone. Gemini, your mind is a galaxy. Don't let one dark night convince you that the stars are gone. You've reached the end of the line. There's no turning back now. A figure lies face down, 10 swords in their back. The sky is black. Pain is undeniable. It looks like the end. But look again. On the horizon, the sun is rising. The worst has already happened, and now there's only one direction left. Up. This is the Ten of Swords, a card of finality, collapse, release, and the end of suffering. And yes, it hurts. It marks a moment when everything feels broken. Plans fail, illusions shatter, betrayal strikes, or the mind simply can't take one more thought. This is when Gemini's mind meets the breaking point. For Gemini, who thrives on analysis, words, and options, the Ten of Swords can feel like a mental overload, like every idea, plan, or identity you once trusted has fallen apart. It's the feeling of, I've said everything I could. I've tried every way I know. I can't think my way out of this. That's because this card is not about solving a problem. It's about surrendering the old story. But, once again, the card offers clues to solve this dilemma. First, we need to acknowledge the end. If something is done, and pretending otherwise will only deepen the pain, whether it's a relationship, belief, mindset, or a way of being. It's time to release what no longer supports your evolution. Gemini's mind can cling to logic and what ifs, but now is the time to feel, not fix. Stop replaying that old scene. Gemini often replays endings over and over, dissecting what went wrong. But the Ten of Swords says, enough. The mental loop is over. You've seen the worst and survived. Now the question is not why did this happen? It's who do I become now that it has? Embrace the power of hitting rock bottom. It's uncomfortable, yes, but rock bottom is solid ground. There's clarity here. No more illusions, no more guessing. You are free to rebuild with truth on your own terms. For Gemini, this is the first breath after mental burnout. It's painful, but pure. Look to the horizon in the card. The light is returning. Healing has begun. You don't need to do anything except allow it. Trust the process. This is a rebirth disguised as defeat. A divine pause, a psychic detox, a new self emerging. The Ten of Swords is a gift. You've been pierced by truth, stripped of illusion, and now there's space, real space, to create a life based not on survival, but on authenticity. You are not the person you were before the fall. You are wiser, sharper, softer, maybe, but stronger too. Gemini, let go of what's finished. You don't need to carry its weight anymore. You've reached the end of the sword's story. Now you get to write a new one. The Ten of Swords is the end, the dramatic, no going back, stick a fork in it, it's done moment. Yes, it looks bleak, but it's also a clean slate. As only a Gemini can, you're ready to mentally reboot and rise anew. Every ending sparks a fresh thought. A figure in gleaming armor charges forward on a white horse. Sword raised high, wind whipping around him, eyes locked on the target. He doesn't hesitate. He doesn't look back. This is the Knight of Swords, the embodiment of mental clarity in motion. He represents intellectual action, decisiveness, and the unstoppable pursuit of truth. For Gemini, a sign ruled by Mercury, the Knight of Swords reflects the element of air in its most focused and aggressive form. Gemini is known for versatility, curiosity, and quick thinking, but the Knight brings in something more: intensity, direction, and purpose. The Knight isn't just thinking or talking, he's doing. He is the Gemini mind with a mission. Whether it's speaking truth, pursuing justice, or solving a problem, he's determined to see it through at lightning speed. The strengths of the Knight of Swords in this Gemini energy include unstoppable focus. Once Gemini finds a cause worth fighting for, the Knight emerges bold, clear, and ready to charge ahead. Quick decisions. No one makes mental leaps like Gemini, and the Knight makes use of this gift. He reacts with speed others can't match. Words are his weapon. This is Gemini delivering truth with precision, even if it cuts. The Knight doesn't just want to be right, he wants to make a difference. This is Gemini standing for a vision of belief. But, like all cards, there is a shadow side, when speed becomes recklessness. This Knight of Swords, like Gemini, can move too fast. Words fly out without pause, and once spoken, can't be taken back. Thinking and acting at full speed all the time can lead to exhaustion and tunnel vision. In the rush to act, the bigger picture or the emotional impact on others can be overlooked. Gemini's gift is adaptability, but the Knight reminds us focus needs balance. Speed without awareness becomes chaos. So there are ways to work with this Knight of Swords energy. You can channel passion with precision. Let your ideas inspire bold action, but don't let urgency override strategy. Use Gemini's mental flexibility to assess your path as you move forward. Speak your truth, but with compassion. The Knight doesn't shy away from truth, and neither does Gemini, but temper your blade with empathy. Not everyone moves at your speed, and not every situation needs a verbal sword. Your power lies in your intellect. So slow down, stay sharp. Make sure your mind has time to breathe. Gemini thrives when given space to reflect, not just react. The Knight of Swords is your call to action, not reckless, not rushed, but aligned with truth and purpose. He is the wind behind your conviction, the momentum of your ideas. The Gemini mind, not just thinking, but moving mountains. When this card rides in, the message is clear. Act on what you know, speak with intention, and let your ideas fly. Guide them like arrows. A young figure stands on a hill, a sword raised. The sky is restless, the wind stirs. Eyes wide open, thoughts moving faster than words. This is not a warrior, it's a watcher, a questioner, a mental scout. This is the Page of Swords, card of curiosity, new ideas, vigilance, and the first steps into the realm of the mind. The Page of Swords is the young Gemini in full force, eager to learn, asking why a dozen times, questioning authority, tradition, and even their own thoughts, ready to dive deep into a topic until a new one catches their eye. This page is not afraid of information. In fact, they crave it. They're wired to observe, gather, and test the limits of thought. But with that comes restlessness, overanalysis, mental scatteredness. This is a card of potential, not mastery. The page wields the sword, but it's still a bit heavy in their hands. They may speak without thinking, they may rush into arguments, they may start 10 things and finish none. That's part of the process. How can you work with the Page of Swords energy? Well, stay curious, but grounded. Ask questions, explore new ideas, chase inspiration, but check your facts. Not everything you think or hear is truth. Gemini's brilliance lies in the ability to filter knowledge, not just absorb it. Practice discernment and communication. This page speaks quickly, but sometimes too soon. Take a breath, consider your words, and remember, clarity is more powerful than speed. Let your mind explore, study without attachment, but avoid tying your identity to every new thought, philosophy, or opinion. The Page of Swords teaches us you don't need to be right to be valuable. You just need to keep learning. This card encourages you to use your voice.
Gorgeous.
What's going on in there?
Nothing.
Gemini rules communication, and the Page of Swords says, start now. Write your ideas down. Speak up in conversation. Share your thoughts, even if they're still forming. There is genius in your raw voice. The Page of Swords is always alert and watching, ears perked, mind spinning. They're watching the world, absorbing patterns, and preparing for deeper understanding. They are the journalist, the student, and the young philosopher, not because they have all the answers, but because they're brave enough to ask better questions. When the Page of Swords appears, it's a call to engage your mind like never before, to sharpen your perception, to read between the lines, to gather tools of intellect and to use them, not to dominate, but to discover. You don't have to know everything, you just have to begin. Page of Swords is the spark of genius, the breath before the argument, the first line in a book that changes your life. Gemini, this is your starting point. Raise your sword and get curious. A single sword bursts upward from a crown, cutting through clouds and storm. Light shines through the blade, sharp, brilliant, undeniable. This is the Ace of Swords, the moment when confusion clears and truth breaks through. The Ace of Swords heralds a new beginning in thought. It's the first flash of understanding after a foggy night. The moment you see the solution that was hidden in plain sight. It's the power of ideas, reason, and intellect, all sharpened to a fine edge. For Gemini, who often struggles with too many ideas, distractions, and questions, the Ace of Swords is a razor-sharp tool that cuts away confusion and doubt. It slices through mental clutter, leaving only what is true, precise, and vital. The Ace of Swords also symbolizes a breakthrough in communication, a new way to express yourself with honesty and authority. It's the voice that can't be ignored, the argument that stands firm because it is built on truth. How can you embrace the Ace of Swords? Well, when this card appears, it's time to trust your mental power. Ideas that once seemed impossible suddenly feel clear and achievable. Gemini's natural curiosity is your ally. Embrace fresh perspectives and innovative thinking. The ace invites you to cut through confusion by speaking clearly. Your words have power. Use them to clarify, persuade, and inspire. The card reminds you that problems, no matter how complex, can be tackled with reason and strategy. Gemini's intellect shines brightest when it's focused. Sometimes the ace brings sudden insights or aha moments. Stay open and attentive. The truth can come when you least expect it. This is your moment of clarity. Ace of Swords is a gift where doubt dissolves and the path forward is sharp, clean, and lit by truth. Gemini, the Ace of Swords hands you the key to new beginnings, a fresh mental start, a powerful voice, and the courage to cut through any challenge. The cards tied to Gemini, the Magician, the Lovers, and the powerful suit of swords invites us to the ever-shifting landscape of the mind. They show us the beauty and challenge of duality, the power of choice, and the courage it takes to face our fears and truths. Gemini's ruling planet, Mercury, blesses this sign with curiosity, communication, and intellect. But it is through the trials of the 8, 9, and 10 of Swords that Gemini learns resilience. Through the youthful spark of the Page of Swords, Gemini rediscovers wonder. And through the clarity of the Ace of Swords, that Gemini finds true insight and breakthrough. Each card is a mirror reflecting the many layers of Gemini's inner world: the restless seeker, the thoughtful chooser, and the bold communicator. In the end, the journey is not about perfect answers, but about embracing the dance of thought and feeling, shadow and light. It's about using the tools at hand, words, ideas, choices, and courage to manifest a life of depth, connection, and authentic truth. So whether you're a Gemini sun, moon, or rising, or just obsessed with the cosmic intellect of the twins, these cards are your soul toolkit. Use them, study them, meditate on them. They're not just cards, they're a mirror to your mind.